Jones. And starting at the last forward position, a 6-foot sophomore from King, North Carolina.
After an unsuccessful 2 games on the road, we're back at the home court where the Flagler women's basketball team takes on Emory and Henry. The 2-3 Wops are against the Saints, who are 1-6 on the season. It's some Wednesday afternoon basketball. Welcome inside the booth. Chris Carey, Stephen Carey, and Stephen. Flagler off to a bit of a slow start so far in this season, but quite the time to turn it around as you play a SAC opponent here in the Peach Belt Conference, here at home. Are they ready to do it tonight?
Yeah, that's certainly the goal for the Flagler Saints women. This team has really struggled to kind of consistently perform, turn out good performances. And now with Emory and Henry, a team that's trekking the Southeast, playing different competition than they're used to in their conference play. They enter a hostile environment here in St. Augustine, Florida on a rainy afternoon. This might be just the time to turn your season around, Chris.
And this Flagler team a bit depleted after a couple of injuries, most notably Buse Utku will be out today with an injury undisclosed. That will mean that Sarah Pedraza and company will have to take care of the backcourt without the woman from Ankara, Turkey, manning the ball for Flagler here today.
Yeah, no, Sarah Pedraza is a huge player for this team in terms of her role. She's the point guard. She's the main shooter from the outside. We saw last week versus Florida Tech what impact she had in a losing effort. Now today versus Emory and Henry, we'll see exactly how much of the load she can carry, but she's got an excellent supporting cast alongside her.
4 straight losses for Flagler, and all of these losses have been 10 points or more against them, including a 74-57 loss, a near 20-point defeat against Sioux Falls at the Bahama House Shootout. But they're in their own house with the women in white. Their starting lineup: Sarah Pedraza, Sherelle McCormick, Taylor Gardner, Nemaya Pierce, and Maddie Erickson taking the floor. For Emory Henry in Navy, they will have Amaya Lee in the backcourt. Number 11, Grace Glantz, Emma Santoro, and then on the far side, Briley Jones. Just about ready for tip-off, and Emory and Henry will have the ball with Briley Jones immediately going up the floor, and a floater in for Emma Santoro, the forward out of King, North Carolina.
It's a great start for Emory and Henry, pushing transition early, dishing it over the top of the Flagler defense.
McCormick, mid-range, gets the friendly roll. Little step back there, and they even the score here early.
That's something we didn't see in the Florida Tech game last week at home. It was a very slow start for Flagler, and for both teams, might I add. Now, first possessions for each teams, first score for each team.
Ball running through Briley Jones. Going to her left, now doubled. Makes a move, and that rolls in and out off the front iron. Gardner moving it up the court. And she will stop and flush it home. Little mid-range action to start off this game for the Saints.
It's a great start. It's a great start, especially showcasing the mid-range jumper. A lot of people would say that aspect of the game is dying for the three-point ball, but Flagler showing a great job from shooting the ball just inside the arc.
Brianna Yarber there finishing, the redshirt freshman. And now a foul on Sherelle McCormick at the baseline. She will shoot 2. So we talked a little bit about Buse Utku not being available for this game. How important is it for Sherelle McCormick, one of these big members of the team, to step up as kind of a hybrid in between the backcourt and the front court?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Sherelle McCormick, one of your small forward type players, as she drains the first free throw attempt. She's aggressive, she's physical, and she showcased the ability to shoot the mid-range jumper. If they're not going to close out on her, that may open up 3 balls for either Pedraza or Gardner. Not to mention Erickson on the inside.
And McCormick makes them both. Amaya Lee now cycling up to the top of the key. Brianna Yarber now a 3-ball, and that will go in and out. Briley Jones missed there, but a good offensive rebound by Emma Santoro, and now she will go up, and Erickson will recover for Flagler. Now Pedraza. Passes inside to Erickson with her left hand, and it goes outside of the cylinder. Another 2 shots for the Saints.
Capitalizing on these free throw opportunities early is going to be crucial in terms of how they can develop and add on to this lead. Erickson, not the best free throw shooter on this team, but gets a ton of attempts, especially with that big frame inside. She's going to draw a lot of contact.
First shot made. Taylor Owens checks in for Grace Glantz. That is the first substitution of the game. As mentioned before, Emory and Henry in navy and yellow, and Flagler in white and red. Erickson is unable to make the second shot, but recovers off of the offensive rebound by Sherelle McCormick. Good play underneath the rim is going to be important to win this game because Flagler has not won in their last 4 contests. Would like to do it here on a Wednesday afternoon at home. McCormick, step back, another shot, and that ribs out.
Had to fire one up with the shot clock expiring. Emory and Henry playing very aggressive, trying to get back into this game in terms of their offensive rhythm. That's a good way to start it with a foul there by Pedraza.
Off-balance shot there from Briley Jones. The ball has mostly gone through her with the Wasps' offense as Flagler leads by 3 points, but allowing the opposition to get to the free throw line will be something that Flagler does not want to do deeper into this game. First shot made by Jones. A little more on Jones, 5'4" senior out of Greenville, Tennessee, and Greenville High School. Emory and Henry in the Virginia area, recruiting around the states near Virginia. Flagler a little bit more balanced in where they've recruited. They've recruited in the Midwest, internationally, some in the state of Florida, and the woman on the ball out of Mexico City, possibly their best pickup this season.
Pedraza, everything is captained by her. She is motioning people away, trying to get separation.
Maya Pierce into Erickson with a right hand off of the glass. Good 1-2-3 punch from Pierce, Erickson, and of course Pedraza at the top.
So much of that has to do with ball movement and spacing, finding the easy layup inside instead of trying to throw up a jumper from deep.
Speaking of, Santoro misses her mark. And a good rebound by McCormick. Now Gardner inside to Pierce, and she gets it to go.
Left-handed flip by Gardner, saw the cutter streaking in. It's a great play. Good awareness, keep your eyes up the court.
Now Owens will take a 3 from the top of the key, off the front of the iron, and Gardner another rebound.
And here's what's so interesting about this game. Flagler is doing everything that Rick Eyerly talked about doing versus Florida Tech. They're closing out on 3-point shots, making sure that every jumper is contested. But Flagler's capitalizing on the inside, really working the ball around, not letting it die in anyone's hands.
Gardner now to Nemaya Pierce, mid-range beyond the free-throw line, and she will miss. Good rebound there by Briley Jones. Immediately out to the wing. 3-ball, offensive rebound. And this time it will go in for Brianna Yarber. Right place, right time, 11-8 the score.
Yeah, and those second chance opportunities so important. Offensive rebounds, crashing the glass. Just making sure those extra possessions count.
Taylor Gardner roving, and that is out of bounds. But it will stay with the Saints. It last touched Emma Santoro, and an inbound incoming for the Saints.
Wouldn't be surprised if they try to work around, get the ball to Erickson inside. Now Pedraza beyond the arc, but that's always the main plan. Get it inside to Erickson, see if she can do anything with the basketball.
Pedraza driving. She's hit as she passes, and no foul called. A turnover for Flagler, and immediately moving it up the floor, it goes out of bounds. A little audacious pass from Emma Santoro, and Brianna Yarber could not recover.
Yeah, it was a bit aggressive to throw the ball up the floor that deep, especially with Flagler's defense compressing inside. Fortunately for the Saints, it didn't result in any points for Emory and Henry.
Now Erickson down low, up to Gardner, pumps fakes, 3-ball, top of the key, and that misses. Briley Jones now going through a Maya Lee. I haven't seen much of her. She's been more on the defensive than driving the basketball. A little 1-2 game, pass inside, it will go out of bounds. Last touch by Flagler, and the Wasps will get the ball. There is a timeout on the floor, which means it's an important time to talk about the 2023 corporate partners for Flagler Athletics, starting with Applebee's, Eating Good in the Neighborhood, Academy Bus, We Know the Way, A.D. Davis Construction, builders, developers, and contractors. The Bailey Group, no matter where you want to go, we'll help you get there. Ameris Bank, savings for the expected or unexpected. And Atlantic Dodge, proud supporter of Flagler Athletics. Flagler fans, if you want to support all Flagler athletic teams, join the Saints Club. Visit www.flaglerathletics.com and click on the Saints Club for details. So timeout on the floor here, an 11-8 ball game. Little less scoring the last 2 minutes or so. What have you seen so far?
I think we've seen Flagler dictate the pace of this game in terms of how they're moving the ball around the perimeter, finding Pierce, finding Erickson inside. That's the key to their game. They don't have to shoot very much from the outside. Now, they've been able to shoot mid-range jumpers. I don't think we've seen a three-point attempt that's gone in for Flagler yet. In fact, I think we've seen very few three-point attempts at all in this game from the Saints, and that's been the difference. We saw early Emory and Henry trying to force the issue to claw their way back into this game. It's going to be a slow burn. And Stephen, speaking of three-point shots, now you have Becca Benj checking into the game. So I think they were aware of that as well. Pass to the free throw line. It is airballed, and Pedraza quickly moving up the court in a counterattack. She'll slow it down now in the game as well. Lainey Norika. Didn't see her at all against Florida Tech. Three ball from McCormick, and that misses. Norika tried to go for the rebound. Instead, she hits the deck, and it's a 5-on-4 situation. Briley Jones, inside pass, and it's blocked the last second by McCormick. Jump ball as well. It will go the other way. Excellent defense by the Saints, closing out right there underneath. Yeah, top to bottom. Excellent recovery by McCormick. Blocked shot, wide open. Wasp underneath the basket. With the jump ball rules, the alternate possession goes to Flagler. Maddie Erickson now on the ball. Norika at the top. McCormick from the top of the key, driving in, kicking out to Benj. Three-point attempt, no good this time. Can't make the immediate spark impact like she did against Florida Tech on her first shot. Now a three ball to match the other way, and Briley Jones can't get it to go. And a jump ball this time will go to the Wasps. 11-8 still the score, under 4 minutes in the first quarter. The Saints looking good. Defensively, low-scoring game thus far. But at any point, a three ball ties the game, and Emory and Henry are quick trigger from beyond the arc so far. Oh, Chris, you remembered exactly how the last game we were at started for the Flagler women. And Briley Jones drives in with the right hand and finishes now 11-10. It was a very slow start for both teams offensively, and they started to come into their own after the second half. Pedraza dribbles away from pressure, now gives it to Norika. Inside to Erickson. She's going to drive herself. Body to McCormick. Jumps up and finishes off the glass. Inside pressure, and Sherelle McCormick can't be stopped right now. No, she could not. On both sides of the basketball, her ability to take that contact, find a lane, and bank it in, so impressive. Kick out to the corner. Amaya Lee can't get it to go. And now quickly the other way. Becca Benj, three ball. And that misses short again. You can tell what Becca Benj wants to do when she's in the game is shoot from beyond the arc. Be an instant spark like she was versus Florida Tech. Today, Flagler with a three-point lead, looking to extend that even further as this first quarter begins to wind down. Not allowing the three, Santoro to the wing. Now Jones. And a prayer shot falls in by Taylor Owens. Yeah, and I don't know if we'd even call that a prayer shot. It was an overextension by McCormick. The pass got through, wide open attempt. Nice little mid-range jumper, nothing but net. They've been shooting pretty good from inside of three-point land, both teams. Now Norika playing it inside to McCormick. And again off the glass. Fantastic. When Taylor Gardner came off the court, Stephen, McCormick went into the backcourt to be more of a guard, and I think she's just naturally floating down
to below the cylinder and playing more of a power forward position. The versatility can be seen right now. Now 15-14, and McCormick has the ball again. Benj almost forces a turnover, but it's tipped out of bounds by Amaya Lee. So Norika will check out along with Sarah Pedraza. Back into the game, Gardner and Nemaya Pierce. Number of different substitutions for Emory and Henry as well. Macy McClellan checks in, as well as Hannah Spainauer and Mimi Trainum. So some new personnel for both teams, but 3 subbing in for Emory and Henry and 2 for Flagler. It'll run through Gardner now, and Benj will likely be at the backcourt. McCormick driving through pressure, lost the handle there, but floats one up, in and out. Nemaya Pierce gets the rebound. Not anywhere to go, and somehow gets it to McCormick. And they will recycle as a nice pass down low. Erickson misses, and finally the Wasps get the ball.
You can tell McCormick wants contact however she can get it. Understands that her strength can push off defenders, find a window, potentially lay one in off the window.
Now McClellan with the ball. She'll go up to the top of the key with Spainauer. Now Yarber. Under a minute left to play in the first quarter. Only 1 point separates these two teams. Spainauer for 3. And a good rebound by Nemaya Pierce.
It's a great example of crashing in on the glass.
Benj on the jab step, traveled. Line referee was able to call it another turnover on Flagler. 5 seconds separate the game clock and the shot clock in the first quarter here. 15-14, the Saints lead here at home.
Yeah, and you can tell that Benj wanted to fake out the Wasps there. Predominantly a three-point shooter. Her little pump fake and work her way inside, just couldn't get her feet set.
Spainauer. Now Yarber and Lee. Gardner, good pressure defense. Now a 3-ball, it will be off the mark and rebounded by McCormick. See if she takes it herself, off pressure. And it takes a touch, good save. And Gardner is able to recover it with 1 second. Benj the shot, it will not count. If she was just a half a second earlier, it would be 18-14 right now. Instead, 15-14 after 1 quarter of play. Leading all scorers, Sherelle McCourt with 8 points. And Flagler a 1-point lead as we await the second period. As we do that, we can thank some more of our basketball sponsors here at Flagler. Burschel & Co. Find your home today. Carmelo's, delivering old world quality. Carrabba's, so close you can taste it. South State Bank. Welcome to Banking Forward. Chick-fil-A, eat more chicken. Pizzali's Chianti Room for the true Italian food connoisseur. And Capital Financial Strategies, a full-service financial company serving North Florida and South Georgia. Second period coming at you next here from Flagler Gymnasium.
Quarter number 2 nearly underway. Flagler leading 15-14 here at the Flagler Gymnasium. Checking into the game is Carly Grimm. Erickson with the ball, now giving it up to Pierce. Benj working inside. Looking for Erickson down low, 1 dribble, high off the glass, up and in. Flagler up by 3 points now. A great start to the second quarter of the game versus Emory and Henry, South Atlantic Conference foe. Amy Trainum gives it up. Santoro now back to Spainhour. A nice layup off the glass. The Wasps going back and forth with the Saints for the last 5 minutes or so. Flagler really trying to execute beyond the arc. Pierce, deep jumper, air ball.
That's been a lot of air balls recently for both teams. And sometimes even the uncontested shots, they're not getting to make contact with even the rim.
Lee from the parking lot, it's off the mark, rebounded by Pierce. She'll give it up to Gardner, pushing it up the floor.
And if you can allow a lot of three-point shots, but they're contested, you're happy with that.
Speaking of a three ball, that one rims out. Carly Grimm with the attempt there. Lee will give it up to Spainhour. Spainhour up top. Another three ball. Another miss.
So just exactly what I said just a few moments ago. Allowing the three ball is not the problem as long as you close out. And so far, Flagler's been able to do that. But you have to be able to convert on the other end. And so far this quarter, the short time we've seen, it's just been back and forth, ping-ponging the ball offensively, defensively, off the front of the iron. And the shots, they just don't have enough loft to them. And I think that's why they're going to bring Sherelle McCormick back into the game with Sarah Pedraza.
McCormick has certainly been the spark for Flagler offensively and defensively. So on both sides of the basketball, she has made her presence known. Pedraza, what you see is what you get. One of the leading scorers on this team. Spainhour against McCormick. High screen set near the free throw line. Jumper, it rims out. Gardner to Pedraza. And a bad miss by Flagler. McCormick with the rebound, spins inside, works the baseline. It's blocked. Amy Trainum there with the defense.
Interestingly enough, Sarah Pedraza, who had above 20 points in her last contest here at home against Florida Tech, has no points yet. She's been more of a facilitator, and I think that you would like to see a little bit more of her aggressiveness. She has the handles, she has the ability on the ball, but mostly when she's on point. Right now she's more of a shooting guard, which would add a little bit more reason for her to have more points. But right now, 2 fouls already. Don't want to get her into foul trouble with 3 or so fouls before the second half, and that's why they're going to have somebody else check in.
Briley Jones enters the game for Emory and Henry. Lainey Norelka is back in the game. Jones, beautiful flip up and in with her left hand. Wasps lead by 1. Norelka up top. Gardner working against Jones. Deep three ball. Count it.
Well, they relinquished the lead, but not for too long. Taylor Gardner gets the three-party started. And you know she has that in her bag of tricks. It's just a matter of when it was going to come out. And here in the second quarter, no better time than now. And maybe she can start getting the hot hand, getting some shots to fall from beyond the arc for Flagler.
Amy Trainum tried to find Hannah Spainhour cutting inside and said it was a kicked ball by Sherelle McCormick. Now the feed inside. Santoro blocked. So now Flagler will push it up the floor. Pierce down low. Gardner, ball fake. Straight away three. It's short. I would say nothing but net, but I think that means something else, Chris.
It means something entirely different, and Carly Grimm just unfortunately unable to even find the rim the last 2 or 3 three-point attempts. There is some versatility there. You have Nemaya Pierce, who doesn't really shoot beyond the arc, but Grimm thinks she has it there, but those possessions are valuable, especially when there's a 2-point difference, and these two teams are going back and forth. But right now, Flagler has really dominated in a number of different facets of the game, and Emory and Henry has stuck around. Credit to them.
Taylor Owens re-enters the game. She corrals the pass from Jones. 3 ball. Off the glass, last touched by Flagler. Off the hand of Lainey Norelka.
Norelka just trying to make an impact defensively. Tips that out of bounds, unable to corral it. I think she's probably going to be the low man at this point. The Maya Pierce playing more of a small forward position.
Pierce loses the handle. Marika, her outlet pass. Gardner to McCormick. Putting on the moves, working to her right side. Marika spins. Ball fake. And fouled underneath. So she'll go to the line and shoot two, try to extend this 2-point Flagler lead to potentially 4.
And Marika, 3 or 4 moves there. You always have to ask, is the extra move worth it? And right there it was. She gained enough separation to get a shot off with her weak left hand. And now she's at the line, makes her first shot, and extends the lead by 3. And as you mentioned before, could make it 4. And Flagler, don't count them out if there's a miss, too. Offensive rebounds have been something they've been good at off the glass.
Speaking of offensive rebounds, Namaya Pierce right there. Spun out to Benj. 3-ball. Good. That's how you cycle the basketball beyond the arc. They found just the person to extend this lead.
And usually when Becca Benj makes some three-pointers, it's not 1, it's not 2. They come in bunches.
Briley Jones feeds it inside to Santoro, and she'll put one up and in against Pierce.
It's been Jones and Santoro trying to connect. 2-man game up top and down low. Right now Flagler's been a bit more balanced, shooting a lot more 3-balls, and you can see right there with Taylor Gardner, she's fouled there in the act of shooting. But I think that might be their game plan right now. You don't have Buse Utku that works in tandem typically with Sarah Pedraza, so players like Gardner, who are more of a small forward that can be on the ball or a secondary option at point guard coming off the bench, have to carry a little bit bigger of a load here today against Emory and Henry.
This must have been a foul away from the shot because Gardner is not at the free throw line, so Lady Narika is going to talk through the traffic. Gardner versus Lee. Now Benj, 3-ball.
3-point shots for Benj. That's why she's out there. Even off the screen, she doesn't need a dribble. She's catch and shoot type of player. And unfortunately, that window wasn't enough for her to drain it.
Santoro on the wing. Giving it to Briley Jones. Deep 3. In and out.
Good rebound there by Norika. She was getting pushed in the back and somehow was able to come up with it.
McCormick now to Gardner. Benj will dribble and give it back.
You can tell all they're trying to do is create some separation. A little bit more of a gap for Becca Benj to do that.
Didn't pull the trigger immediately. Found a way to get into a shooting space, and now the Saints lead by 7 with 4 minutes left to go in the first half. Jones versus Benj at the top of the key.
Stephen, it's that cerebral mentality. It's, if I give it up, will I have a chance to get a better shot? And in that instance, Becca Benj did the right thing, made the smart choice, and had a deep 3. Now 6 points for her. And both of them are because of 3-balls. And a 7-point lead is the Saints' biggest lead so far this game. You can thank Becca Benj a lot for being able to create that type of movement and spacing for her team.
Flagler's lead by 7. It's important to talk about the amazing sponsors of the Flagler College Saints. Starting with Coldwell Banker Premier Realty, fulfilling the dream of home since 1906. Evans Automotive, quality work at a fair price. Fish Bites, set the hook. 5-star pizza, bigger, better, faster. And the Flagler Hospital, excellence as a way of life. So Chris, Flagler leads by 7. This has been one of the biggest leads of the game for the Saints. What's been different here in the second quarter as compared to what we saw in the opening quarter of this game?
I don't think too much has been different. I think if we're going to be completely honest, the 3-point shots are falling a little bit more. The difference that I've seen in this game versus games past is Sarah Pedraza is not on the scoreboard right now. But luckily, Taylor Gardner, Becca Benj, Sherelle McCormick are doing good work right now. I mean, think about it. They've combined for 19 of the team's 27 points. And, you have to be able to attribute that to their expert ball movement, making good decisions. I mean, there have been a few errant three balls from Taylor Gardner, but her distribution of the ball, you can't lose sight of that, and hopefully they continue that here in the final minutes of the second quarter.
Well, we'll begin with 2 Briley Jones free throw shots. She has been the leading scorer for the Wasps in this game, carrying the load with 8 points so far in today's contest.
And quietly enough, if she makes a free throw here, Stefan, she leads all scorers in this game.
Well, you may have just jinxed her on the first attempt. That one's in and out. 27-20, less than 4 to go in the first half. And she does now lead all scorers with 9 points in this game. Gardner to Erickson. Benj finds her way beyond the arc again. Such a dangerous spot for her to be. McCormick working the baseline, spinning, fading away, and it's short.
Didn't have enough mustard on that shot to be able to get it to fall in. And, it's interesting seeing the way these two teams style themselves defensively. They're creating enough spacing for the taller forward center type of players to take shots. But then for Emory and Henry defensively, they're not allowing the taller forward center type players for Flagler to even get close to shooting at the three-point line, from beyond the three-point line,
Lady Norika with the foul there.
But with that spacing, allowing that to happen up top, Stefan, they're going to compress down low, and fouls underneath are going to happen like that.
That's a great shot by Briley Jones. Contested three-point attempt with Benj in her face, and now it's a three-point game. Norika setting the screen, Gardner coming off of it.
See how they're immediately closing out on Norika?
Erickson working inside, gets the double. It's pushed out of play by the Wasps. That was number 11, Grace Glantz, in on the coverage.
And it's really hard to double Sherelle McCormick because that would be the person you would have to double the way that she's played this game so far. But McCormick's going to find a way to get it to Benj or Gardner. We'll see if they start doubling, because then you're going to see more three balls if I were to guess.
High ball screen by Erickson. Running right through it is Lee. Gardner has nowhere to go. Shot clock violation, and the Wasps have a chance to tie the game with a three-point made.
That's just really good defense. Forced an inbound, was able to tip it out of bounds, stayed true to their defensive philosophy, and now a three-point game with under 3 minutes left to play here in the second quarter. Looks like Maya Lee is directing traffic here, trying to figure out where everybody's offensive assignment is, where they're supposed to go. Bit of confusion on the floor, Stefan.
This is a very important game for Flagler in terms of tuning up for the rest of the season, Chris. Because, well, let's face it, starting December 10th, they enter conference play. Straightaway three is well off the mark. But on December 10th, they go to North Georgia, which is a Peach Belt Conference game. From that point, they'll rattle off 2 Peach Belt Conference games at North Georgia and at Young Harris. Then they'll play a couple of teams in the Sunshine State Conference before going back to Peach Belt Conference action. And though their record stands at 1-6, it's really the conference schedule that's the most important. McCormick inside, miscommunicated, deflected away by Glantz. Pushing it up the floor are the Wasps. Maya Lee to Santoro, 3. Too much. So after a three ball that was too short, that one was too long, and Flagler will take over.
I'm going to amend my defensive philosophy for Flagler right now. They're not allowing anything inside. They want the three ball to be shot, even with a 3-point difference in the game. And Emory and Henry is taking the bait. They're shooting a lot of three-point shots and not converting on many of them.
McCormick beyond the arc. There's Norika. Hesitates, passes inside to Erickson, and she's fouled on the way up. So from a defensive strategy to an offensive strategy, you have to think that Erickson's involvement underneath the basket is going to be a huge point of emphasis in the second half with only a minute and a half left in the first.
I think it's of paramount importance because it keeps the Wasps on their feet. I mean, when you think about it, the sheer amount of three-point shots being taken from both teams start to forget about players down low. Erickson hasn't shot a three-point attempt, and with Norika working the two-man game, nice bounce pass inside, you can draw fouls fouls and get a couple of easy points at the free throw line.
Santoro with the rebound. Erickson makes 1 out of 2. It's a 4-point game with 1:25 left to play in the first half. Happy to be here inside the Flagler Gymnasium. And a great cut by Lee. Backdoor, off the glass and in. Caught the defense napping. Benj on the other end of the floor had a shot. And she'll take it this time. High off the rim. Erickson with a great board. In plenty of traffic. Now Flagler will elect to slow it down. Erickson sets the screen. McCormick slashes her way inside, and she is fouled. A lot of contact versus Sherelle McCormick, and she's been the player of interest for the Wasps on the defensive side of the basketball.
She hasn't been man-marked well at all. Just a little jab step back towards the baseline, and really she's gone completely unmarked. Great move by Sherelle McCormick, driving with a lot of power towards the rim and awarding herself with 2 free throw shots. If she can make a both step, she'd get to double-digit points along with her counterpart on Emory and Henry, Briley Jones.
McCormick makes the first, misses the second, much like Erickson did a few short minutes to go. Under a minute left to play. Flagler leading 29-26. This game can be tied with a 3-point made. Lee directing traffic, giving it up to Briley Jones. Now it's in the hands of Lee again. With her right hand, up and in. Now Maya Lee is coming to life here in the waning moments of the first half. It's a 1-point game.
And I would assume Flagler, there's no shot clock at this point. They're going to hold for the last shot, up 1 point.
Gardner getting the direction from head coach Mo Smith. Erickson, not in the post. She'll cycle her way, trying to get Benj open. 6 seconds. And it's taken away. Amaya Lee floats one up, and it's off the mark. Flagler will exit the first half with the lead, but a great surge by the Emory and Henry Wasps makes it only a 1-point game as we enter the half.
Saints 29, Emory and Henry 20.
Flagler fans, we have to take a moment to thank a number of different sponsors for Flagler Athletics. Starting with Hero of Florida, your partner for the complete equipment lifestyle. Hybrid design, advertising, graphic design, and marketing. Jersey Mike Subs, a sub above. Mowry Law Firm, proud supporter of Flagler Athletics. The Noah Bailey Group, proud sponsor of Flagler College Athletics. Northeast Florida Regional Airport, the smart choice for all your air travel needs. 123 Burger House, grillin' and chillin'. And Pink Stork, the wellness brand for women. The score 29-28. Flagler leads here at home on a Wednesday afternoon, looking for their second win of the season. Sherelle McCormick leads all Flagler scores with 9 points. On the other side, Briley Jones has 12 points, backing the number on her uniform. We will be back with second half action in just about 13 minutes or so. Just about ready for second half action between the Saints and the Wasps. Here for Women's Division II College Basketball, Chris Carey and Stephen Carey with you. 29-28. Flagler leads. They're at 1-6. Emory and Henry at 2-3, but Flagler in a close one, looking for their second win of the season. As mentioned before, Sherelle McCormick leads all Flagler scores with 9 points. On the other side, Briley Jones has 12 points of her own. McCormick, Pedraza, Gardner. Down low, Nemaya Pierce and Maddie Erickson will command the floor for the Saints. And the leading scorer of this game, Briley Jones on the ball. To Santoro at the top of the key. Jones, three-point shot to get it started. It won't go, and Pedraza pushing the pressure up the floor to Gardner. 2 steps, stop and start, and she is fouled underneath.
Yeah, Briley Jones just couldn't stop her momentum there. Good stop by Gardner to get her feet set, get her feet planted, and Flagler gets to get into their own set, find a way to get the ball inside to Erickson, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a much bigger half from Sarah Pedraza offensively.
Maya Pierce not trying to pull the trigger from beyond the arc. Gardner gets the pick off the screen, is doubled, and now Pedraza has the basketball. Shoveled inside, now to Maya Pierce in a more comfortable position to work. Keeps driving, and with her left hand off the top corner of the glass, 31-28, and Nemaya Pierce gets the scoring started in the second half.
It's so interesting how differently Emory and Henry is playing Nemaya Pierce versus how they play Erickson down low. They compress so much more when 32 has the basketball. Pierce recognizes this and decides, you know what, I'm going to take it myself and feel that there's less pressure on me. Just beautiful execution, and Emory and Henry goes right down the floor and scores quickly.
Speaking of right down the floor, first bit of aggression towards the glass by Sarah Pedraza, and she is rejected down low.
Pedraza averaging just under 11 points per game. She's scoreless so far in today's contest, but you see there, trying to create opportunities for herself. As this point guard, she has an ability to slash her way inside.
Sherelle McCormick step back mid-range. It looked more like a pass, and Erickson is receiving contact. Nemaya Pierce cleans it up underneath. 4 straight points for her. And Nemaya Pierce getting things started for Flagler's offense in the third quarter. And now Santoro off of a nice pass by Lee, driving through 3 and finding the way to get 2. 33-32, and Santoro on the other end doing the legwork for the Wasps.
Yeah, through McCormick, Pierce, and Erickson. That is not easy to do. Flips it up with her right hand. It's a beautiful shot there from number 20.
Pedraza no-look pass. Erickson to Nemaya Pierce. Now McCormick, three-point shot. It rolls in and out, and somehow Pierce with the offensive board and finally fouled. We'll see if it's in the act of shooting. Looks like Nemaya Pierce is going to head to the line. If she can make both shots, it would be 6 straight points for number 12 here in the third quarter.
She has been sensational to start this second half. Everything she's done defensively, crashing the offensive glass. This whole opportunity is because she found a way to get a rebound versus 3 defenders. Flagler is going to play this game tight. You can tell that Emory and Henry will not go silently into the afternoon, if you will, a rainy afternoon here in St. Augustine, Florida.
Well, I'm sure Flagler hopes that the feeling is like the weather for the Wasps, gloomy and overcast. As that ball is tipped out of bounds, the Wasps will retain possession of the basketball. Briley Jones on the ball, one-on-one with Gardner working the baseline. Still some more, kick out to Lee, one more, and glance the three-point shot. Maya Pierce gets the defensive rebound. She has been all over the floor in the second half and now gets the ball again. Mid-range jumper, and that's nothing but air and out of bounds.
I think that Emory and Henry saw what Nemaya Pierce was doing on the inside and really was comfortable with giving her that deep jump shot. Paid off for the Wasps.
Good cut by Jones with her left hand. Just a little too much on it, but Yarber cleans it up underneath with her left hand, and it's a 34-34 ball game. Back and forth we go here at the Flagler Gymnasium. And I think it's going to have to be Sarah Pedraza who needs to get involved, because right now it has been ping-ponging in this game. Kick out to Pedraza, and she'll immediately give it up to Gardner. Dribble drive, now Pedraza, another chance from three-point land. Rebounded by Pierce against four defenders. McCormick floated shot, and that will be an air ball. Glantz is able to sequester the basketball. Missed shot, and Erickson gets it for Flagler.
Sloppy offensive play here. Pedraza, after that three-point attempt, had a wide-open shot on the far side near her own bench, decided to slow things down, give it up to Gardner. Let's see if it pays off for Flagler.
It's almost as if she doesn't want to shoot the ball unless she's wide open. Amaya Pierce working the baseline, another shot for her. Erickson and Yarber fight for the ball, and it will be a foul on Erickson. And an inbound incoming for Emory and Henry, but before that, Owens will enter the game for Yarber, who was just fouled.
That felt like a frustration foul there by Erickson, having to battle underneath the glass on both ends of the floor.
Sherelle McCormick tips the pass out of bounds. Defensively, almost baiting up these passes to turnover transition. At a 34-34 game, a steal with a wide open floor ahead of you seems to be a good option. Amaya Lee against Pedraza. Now they'll give it up to Briley Jones, who steps back for a three on the wing. Contested shot. Good offensive rebound, but they don't retain possession for long. Gardner pushing the floor. Out to Pedraza. Has to watch her feet, and she did step out of bounds as she lost balance at the last second, getting the ball into her chest. Pedraza's done that a couple of times, especially in the corner. The paint has been something to keep their minds on. Don't want to turnover when you're stepping out of bounds.
Allen, you don't want to turnover when you're in a tie game with 5 minutes left to go in the third quarter.
Foul off ball. And another inbound for Emory and Henry. Not sure who the foul went on, but you were talking about the almost sporadic buildup of Emory and Henry in the first half, where they were 1 point away from tying in the first half, and now they are tied for the first or second time in this game's entirety. Glance to Jones. Three-pointer, and that drops in. So now they have a three-point advantage, and Flagler in a situation now relatively unfamiliar.
And Chris, I believe that this is Emory and Henry's first lead of the game.
If it isn't, it's their biggest lead, for sure.
No doubt about it. Look, Flagler has seemingly slowed down offensively here in the second half. What we've seen is not the same type of emphasis on moving the ball inside. Great play there by McCormick to find some space, but still individual efforts is not going to take precedence over ball movement. The way that they cycled the ball across the perimeter, finding a way to get it inside to either Erickson or Pierce, that was the main MO in the first half. They're going to have to find a way to get back to that.
Now Santoro at the top of the key looking for a cutter. Nobody there. They vacated down low. Everybody's basically beyond the arc, and now Briley Jones works herself off of the glass with a spin move, and she is in her bag right now. 39-36. Briley Jones having one heck of a performance so far. Now McCormick driving the baseline. Anything you can do, I can do better. Sherelle McCormick adding to her point totals now. And immediately the ball is given up by Emory and Henry. Gardner choosing to push the pace. And now a jump ball should stay with the Saints.
And it does. Timeout's going to be called by Emory and Henry, but Chris, Flagler has a bit of work to do here versus the Wasps. You see exactly what Emory and Henry's intensity has been like here in the second half with 4 minutes left to go in the third quarter. We'll see what they do after this timeout.
So 10 points between these two teams each in this third quarter. It was 29-28 entering the third quarter, now 39-38. But this time, the Wasps have the advantage. Have to read a few of the sponsors here for Flagler basketball. They make everything go here for Flagler Saints Athletics. PIP Printing, achieve your marketing goal. Holmes and Brackle Business Interiors, make space for more. Raised Tire and Service for all your heavy-duty and commercial vehicle needs. Salt Life, eat, drink, and be salty. As well as the St. Augustine Inn, Flagler College Athletics official hotel. So, Stefan, it's been kind of the same way the entire game, running through two players on opposite teams, whether it was Briley Jones and Santoro for Emory and Henry, or Sherelle McCormick for Flagler, with a little help from Maddie Erickson down low and Namaya Pierce. Those five-ish players have really made the difference.
It's been a group effort for Flagler. It's been dominated mostly by Sherelle McCormick, but you take a look at the scoreboard and the scoring distribution by the Saints. It's been relatively even between Erickson, McCormick, and Pierce, especially in the second half. Pierce and McCormick have really done the heavy lifting, but the Wasps have been right there with them the whole time.
Shot clock at 21. Pedraza to inbound for Flagler, and everybody's cutting, and finally the play is blown dead. They're going to reset the shot clock to 21 seconds as a second of time ticked off, and now it is reset. Under 4 minutes, 38-39, the Saints trail by one against the Wasps of Emory and Henry. Now ready to go. And Pedraza passes it inside to Maya Pierce, gets the double, shakes a few, and gets the friendly roll. Saints back in front, 40-39.
It's almost like a rocker step on the inside. Fakes like she was going to the baseline, comes back up top, flips it up and in. Flagler is certainly pushing transition on the defensive side.
And push they do, driving in for two and one. Sherelle McCormick will head to the line. Started by Namaya Pierce, baiting up a pass, intercepting, and then pushing up the floor. And McCormick, the only thought in her mind was go, and she did, straight to the basket. Now a three-point advantage for the Flagler Saints with a chance to add another. And she will. Maya Lee up against Gardner. And now they will get it to Briley Jones. To McClellan. And there is nobody down low yet. Jones working against Pedraza. A lot of pressure. And Maddie Erickson gets a tip as time expires. 3-on-2 situation. Maya Pierce down low. Now Pedraza. Three-point shot. And there are her first 3 points. They are very big here in the third quarter.
And that's going to force a timeout by Emory and Henry. This crowd is juiced. They're fired up. Flagler's got a 7-point lead.
And when Sarah Pedraza is cold and gets hot, typically the game gets hotter for the lady from Mexico City. So another timeout called. Now a 7-point advantage from Flagler. That was fast. As we thank some more of our sponsors. Sonny's, local pitmasters since '68. We don't just serve barbecue, we are barbecue. The Spartan Orthopedic Institute, sports medicine, and robotic surgery. St. Augustine Marina for all your boating and fishing needs. The St. Augustine Record, covering the ancient city in St. Johns County since 1894. And the St. John's Family Funeral Home and Crematory. Services unique as life. So the ball movement has been great, Stefan. Even more distribution here in the third quarter than we've seen in the 2 quarters previous. And Sarah Pedraza finally on the board with a 3-ball of her own.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned that, Chris, because we didn't see very much distribution and very much ball movement at all in the beginning moments of this third quarter. But as Flagler began to stick to their game plan, they started to regain that lead, and they haven't looked back since moving the basketball, finding ways to get it outside and open shooting lanes for people like Pedraza.
Jones driving to the basket. Now Santoro, three-point shot. They'll let her shoot it. And what they wanted was for her to miss it, and she did.
And Chris, we're talking about your first half game plan, which you made an amendment to. This is what Flagler is doing so well as McCormick drills a jump shot. They're compressing it on the inside, forcing deep shots from the outside, and that has worked so far in the third quarter.
18 points now for Sherelle McCormick. Off-balance jumper, and everything has worked for her today. Pass inside, Namaya Pierce recovers and slaps it out of bounds. 48-39, a 9-point lead for the Saints, which at one point just 2 or 3 minutes ago, they were at a 1-point disadvantage. Santoro. McClellan the cutter. Lee, three-point shot. Splashdown. 48-42. Good shot there by Amaya Lee. Pedraza working with Namaya Pierce. And of course, they want to get it to McCormick. Pierce lost the handle there, but able to recover.
And you could tell that Pierce is not super comfortable with the basketball in her hands from a dribbling standpoint, but shooting inside, she's been fantastic.
Namaya Pierce mid-range, 6 seconds on the shot clock, rebounded, going the other way for Macy McClellan. They'll cycle it to Briley Jones. Mismatch here defensively. And now McClellan in the corner. Three-point shot. It rims out. They are allowing a lot of three-point shots with space, Stefan, but so far it has worked for the Saints in the third quarter.
Yeah, and if I'm Flagler, I'm content to slow this basketball down, run off some clock time, play into the fourth quarter with a lead.
McCormick, shifty move, step-back jumper, can't get it to fall.
That was a bit of an aggressive shot. Got the separation, understand why McCormick wanted to pull the trigger there, but now there's plenty of time for 2 possessions, and if Emory and Henry can get a 3, stop Flagler and hit another, this game's tied.
Now Owens, three-point shot, third straight three-pointer, and that one is no good. Quickly up the floor to McCormick, driving with her right hand, and she draws the foul and hits the deck. She'll have 2 more shots. If she can make them both, she'll get to points number 19 and 20. 18 points so far for number 3, but not before a few check-ins come in. For Emory and Henry, Brianna Yarber, Grace Glantz, and Mimi Trainum come in. And Becca Benge, the three-point specialist, will come in for Taylor Gardner. 6-point difference between these two teams. Saints 48, Wasps 42, and McCormick sinks the first. And she'll drain the second. 50 points for the Saints, 20 points for McCormick, and she will take a seat on the bench as Norika comes on, but not before a quick timeout with 24 seconds.
1968. They don't just serve barbecue, they are barbecue. Spartan Orthopedic Institute.
This has to be a situation where the Wasps are trying to figure out how to chip away at this deficit. An 8-point difference here where the shots are falling from McCormick. She's driving to the basket. They're not closing out defensively. It has to be an offensive scheme, right?
Yeah, you'd certainly think so, Chris. The Flagler needs to stay aggressive. If they don't, it's going to be just like that Florida Tech game. They have to not let the Wasps get back into this game. 8 points is not nearly enough of a lead. That's really 3 possessions if you think about it. So it's a lead that can go away in an instant. Got to find a way to keep your foot on the gas pedal while not overcommitting to whatever Emory and Henry's going to throw at you.
Trainum on the ball, under 20 seconds. And a nice layup with a right hand, spinning it in on the opposite side of the glass. 50-44, working quickly. Now 6 seconds. Namaya Pierce in pressure. Erickson, 2 seconds. Benge at the shot clock, and that will not fall in.
That's going to do it for first quarter action, ladies and gentlemen.
50-44 the score through 3 quarters. The Saints lead by 6 points against Emory and Henry. We will be back with the final quarter, where hopefully the Saints can bring home their second win here at the Flagler Gymnasium.
Welcome back to the Flagler Gymnasium. Saints lead by 6 points. The final 10 minutes of this contest of Division II women's basketball is underway as Amaya Lee takes the basketball for Emory and Henry. Trying to overcome a 6-point deficit and win their 3rd game of the season, getting back to 500. Passing lane is closed down by Flagler, but a foul inside. And it's going to go against Amaya Pierce. That's her first personal foul.
And she's been really good about not committing fouls, but she has had a lot of times where she's baited up passes to go for the interception the other way, and it has worked. Just there, gets the foul, but to no avail offensively for Emory and Henry.
Pedraza 3 ball is off the mark. Now cycle to Gardner, corner 3. She can't connect. Last touched by Pierce. We'll go the other way with Emory and Henry. The Wasps will take over.
They're getting really good looks, Stefan. They're getting good shots, good, pretty uncontested shots from three-point land. But the problem is it's just a little short or just a little long. They haven't put the just perfect touch on it enough.
Maya Lee working the court. Train him in with her. Wasps calculating their best path to the basket, and it was with Lee. She draws the contact. Excuse me, that's Trainham.
A lot of it has been just down that right flank, floating things up, into pressure, drawing fouls. At a 6-point difference, these free throws with clock stoppages are going to be vitally important for each team. You make it a 4-point game with 2 made free throws, you never know what can happen. A 3-ball, a couple of finishes at the rim. The advantage can swing back into the favor of the Wasps very, very quickly.
She'll shoot 2.
Mimi Trainham out of Richmond, Virginia, in the Stewart School will shoot 2. The first is up and in. It's a 5-point game. Now Gardner will come in and be ready for the second free throw attempt. Flagler up by 5 with just over 9 to go in this game. And Trainham makes them both. So Flagler up by 4 points. Pedraza looking for a screen, instead will give it up to McCormick. She cycles her way to the corner. McCormick putting on the move, spins inside. Ball fake, pass is deflected away, and now it'll go with the Wasps. Trainham full head of steam. Up and over, it's off the glass and off the rim.
They're working really fast here, Stefan.
Pedraza feed to bench in the corner, stutter step. Now back to Pedraza, ball fake, long 2, and it will rim out.
Putting on a couple of moves, her and Benj working together in that near side corner that we see, and still unable to just drop it into the basket. I'd like to see, surprisingly, a three-point shot with pressure. Just see what happens when they close out. Amaya Lee and Mimi Trainum are the two players to make sure you're watching out for. They've been the impact players in this game thus far. Well, for the ones on the court.
And that's what I'm referring to, Chris.
Jones, of course, off the court surprisingly here in the fourth quarter, down 4 points.
Trainum, three ball, misses. Glance was there, was tipped away by Pedraza, and it was last touched by Trainum and out of bounds.
So now under 8 minutes, they've closed out well defensively, failed to put more insurance points on the board at 50-46. I think you just have to slow it down here. And that might be the game plan, but a lot of traffic right in the paint, and then they cut off ball. What happens is it gets a little clustered. It's almost as if they're going for the three-point or mid-range shot every time.
Pedraza in the corner, looking inside for Pierce. Bounce pass, spins away to the baseline, working, and she's fouled with an attempt up by the glass. So she'll go up and shoot two. Flagler up by 4 points. Here's something interesting that I want to talk about, Chris. Look at the personnel on the court for the Saints. One thing that I'm seeing that's missing is that extra size in Erickson. Looks like they're opting more for ball handlers, players that can make plays beyond the arc, instead of what they were doing so well in the first half.
Which makes me ask the question, why are they pushing the pressure then? If you have ball handlers that can hold on to the ball and retain possession and kill clock, then why are you trying to continue to have an up-tempo situation when you don't have anybody down low to feed it to?
Big missed opportunity by Pierce. She misses both free throws. It stays a 4-point game. Amaya Lee now gives it down low to Briley Jones. Good spin. She's in the paint. Puts one up and in. Just like that, the Wasps are back in it. Only 2 points separate these two teams in the fourth quarter. Pedraza pulls it out, gives it up to Benj. Now to McCormick. McCormick working top side. Gets some contact. It's blocked and pushed away. Pierce there for the rebound. Gardner, deep three. Up and in. Flagler needed that.
It's all about finding the extra pass, and they did that there. Still, just a very compressed offense, and even defensively, allowing that to happen. They're allowing that open arc to be shot from for Emory and Henry. And right now, a 2-point difference, it remains.
Gardner now up to Pedraza. Flagler evacuating the paint, trying to get some separation for any of their shooters. Now it's McCormick with the basketball. She'll put up a three. It's off the mark. Pierce is there for the rebound. Spins into pressure. And the basket is waved off. Traveling violation. It's going back to Emory and Henry.
And Pierce looking down at the referee, the baseline, saying that was a foul, that was a foul. But how good has she been, especially on offensive rebounds, just underneath the cylinder, being able to clean things up, being able to extend plays and clock for Flagler. And I think that with Erickson coming onto the floor, they want to add that other body that you were saying down low just to shore that up a little bit more.
Yeah, Maddie Erickson and Nehemiah Pierce being in the game really helps down low, but you think the philosophy is going to remain the same. Force shots to the outside. Briley Jones thought about pulling the trigger on a three. Trainum going inside. It rolls out. There's a foul underneath. It's going to be called against Flagler. Brianna Yarber was there to put up the attempt. She'll shoot two with a chance to tie this game at 53-53 with 5 minutes and 53 seconds left to play.
They're allowing that weak side lane, Stefan, a lot for these shooting guards and point guards of Emory and Henry. That left flank. And what happens is when you allow that, shots can come off, and then when you rebound the ball, there's a lot of pressure and a lot of bodies there underneath anyway. They draw the foul, and just like that, it's a tie ball game.
Just under 6 minutes left to play in the game. Flagler tied at 53 apiece versus their opponent, the Emory and Henry Wasps. Pedraza feeding it inside to McCormick. She'll step back with a jumper, and it's short. Briley Jones gets the screen from Santoro. Deep three. That's short. And there's a foul away from the play against Pedraza. Her body collided with Mimi Trainum's. And you have to think that the fouls are going to be crucially important late in this game. Now already 4 in this quarter alone. The bonus will be impactful later in this game, especially if the scoreline stays this close.
And it's not just the fouls that are the problem, it's allowing offensive rebounds from the opposition. The more they do that, the more clock they kill and more chances they can create to produce shots like that give them a lead.
Turnaround jumper by Brianna Yarber, and now the Wasps lead by 2. Gardner versus Trainum. Spin the ball around the arc. Pierce is there. Left hand jumper. And she's fouled on her way to the basket.
She went in with one hand, finished, or did not finish, with a lot of contact. But they can give that up because of the way Nemaya Pierce has been at the line. She hasn't made many shots. She's been inconsistent at the line. You give that up, you get the ball back. You can turn 2-point advantage into 3 or 4, 4 into 4 or 5, etc. And if you can do that, then you can walk away with a win under 5 minutes left in the game.
Before we get to some Nemaya Pierce free throw attempts, it's important to talk about the corporate partnerships for Flagler College Athletics. The Stellar Group, taking solutions further. Sunshine Realty for all of your real estate needs. Taylor Waldrop, St. Augustine Lawyers, backed by experience, and the McLeod Firm, Florida personal injury attorneys you can depend on. So the scoreline sits at 55-53. The 1-6 Flagler Saints looking to pick up their second win of the season. They have a 2-point deficit to overcome with a little under 5 minutes left to play. Stephen Carey, Chris Carey here inside the Flagler College Gymnasium. Let's do a little bit of a look ahead, Chris, to Flagler's next 2 or 3 games or so. They begin conference play following the conclusion of this game. December 10th, they will travel to Georgia to play at North Georgia at 1:30 p.m. and then we'll play 2 days later at Young Harris College at 1:30 p.m. as well. And the conference, that is really what dictates your entrance into the NCAA playoffs, to the conference playoffs, how you perform versus other teams in the Peach Belt. Right now, things are not looking the best for the Flagler College women, sitting at 1-6. As the first free throw is missed by Pierce. She has really struggled from the free throw line here in the second half.
That's why you allow fouls there. You know she's going to be underneath the cylinder. And if you can allow her to convert 1 of 2, you consider that a win because you still retain the lead.
Santoro gives it up to Jones. Working off a screen is Amaya Lee. Trainum dribbling with her left hand. Wants to find a lane. Instead, she'll turn around, put up a jumper. It's off the glass and in.
Bank is open for Trainum.
McCormick works the baseline, and it's picked off. But they're going to say that it's a double dribble by Briley Jones. Fortunate turn of events for the Saints.
And it's interesting, even for the movement for Emory and Henry, they're not moving off ball much. They're staying in the same location, but so is Flagler's defense. So when you allow that to happen, a spin move by Trainum to go off the glass and a good calculated shot can happen. Now a 3-point advantage. Flagler needs to do something here and do something fast before this game gets out of hand.
Maddie Erickson trying to clear some space for Pedraza. She does just that. And a great rebound by Pierce finds its way into McCormick's hands. Hard fall down on the hardwood. They're going to call a foul against Emory and Henry.
It's that jab step again. I don't think it was slippery. I think they're going to have a chance to inbound the ball again, but the ball really does have to go through Sherelle McCormick.
Well, Daryl Farrell is going to make sure that the floor is not slippery either way. 3-point lead for the Wasps. 3-ball ties the game. You're just looking for points if you're Flagler, and a couple of good stops. Pedraza surveying the floor. Maddie Erickson setting a high ball screen. Pedraza moving to her left, jump shot, and it's good.
had a lot of hang time, but it went to the right place.
Going untouched is Trainham. She puts up a shot. It's well off the mark. Gardner moving it up the floor, looking for trailers. Pedraza. Now back to Gardner. Maya Lee covers number 5, 5-on-5. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Overextension, Gardner, ball fake, jumper, count it! And Flagler has the lead.
It's a matter of ball movement, not staying in the same spot, making a few good shot fakes, and Taylor Gardner cashes in on a little bit of an overcommittal by the defense.
Jones puts up another shot. It's rebounded by Pierce. What she didn't do in free throw attempts, she's making up in rebounds. Gardner, 3. Yes!
Oh, how the pendulum swings, Stefan. About 20 seconds ago, it was in the favor of the Wasps, and then Taylor Gardner had other plans. Nice ball fake on the wing from the far side. Flushed it in for 2 points, then a 3-point shot. Makes it a 4-point advantage for the Saints. How about Taylor Gardner? You've had moments and bursts of greatness from Sherelle McCormick. You saw Sarah Pedraza, Becca Bench, and even Maya Pierce do things in bunches, and now it's Taylor Gardner's turn with under 3 minutes left and a 4-point lead for Flagler.
It's been a fun one, back and forth contest. Flagler looking to pick up their second win of the season with just under 3 minutes left to go. It's important to talk about our final couple of sponsors. Snivet & Smelvin, PA, a full-service law firm representing clients statewide. UBS Financial, pursue what matters most to you today, tomorrow, and for generations to come. And finally, Vested Metals. We are a customer-centric and solution-based metal supplier. Flagler College up by 4 points with under 3 minutes left to go. Chris, there have been moments in this game where they have let the game slip away from them. Right now, they're going to need their best defensive effort. Offensively, all the momentum has gone in their direction. That's why Emory and Henry had to call a timeout. That is why Flagler is going to ride off of that energy.
Well, defensively, you have to close out on Jones specifically. She's been cutting, been very active off the ball, and Pedraza has to not get in foul trouble.
Briley Jones feed inside, ricocheted away. Flagler will take hold of possession.
And wisely so, Pedraza holds on to it. Maybe she'll drive herself with the pick up top.
She will. Feed inside to Pierce. She's stripped. Last touch by Santoro.
Point being is if you continue to drive and you continue to go into pressure, sometimes you're not going to draw a foul, sometimes you're not even going to reach the cylinder. If you cycle the ball around a couple of times, kill some clock with a 4-point lead, you feel very confident about your chances as we get to near the 2-minute mark left in the entire game. Because fouls like that are going to happen too.
Foul called against Mimi Trainham, trying to work through the screen. And what we're seeing is almost like a pairs offense in hockey or in lacrosse. Erickson is working with Pedraza, and Pierce is working with Gardner. They want to have one of their forwards or centers down low. And right now it's Erickson. Good stutter step. Gardner. Deep shot misses. Moving it up the floor. Mimi Trainham with the basketball. She's in the corner working against McCormick. Feed inside. It's up and in. Great cut by Brianna Yarber. It's a 2-point game.
That was a really good cut by Yarber. Went unmarked until the last second. And Mo Smith, for Flagler decided to call a timeout. He saw something he didn't like in transition there. The women in white down 2 points. But there's been a lot of really good off-ball movement from Emory and Henry, and that's been what's really kept them into the game. Think about the scoring in bunches for Flagler. At points in the game, many of their players could not be stopped for a span of about 45 seconds to a minute and a half, and that can really account for a number of points, 5, 6, 7 points individually. For Emory and Henry, it's been a bit more balanced. They focused on going off the ball, passing the ball, drawing contact and fouls. 3-point shots have been non-existent for the Wasps in the fourth quarter. They might need to get that started again to catch Flagler off guard.
Well, right now, Flagler needs to score. That much is evident. Being only up by 2 points, you like to play the clock game being up by 2, but when it's a one-possession game, fouls are going to start happening, and you need to make the most of your possessions. Their starting core will be in the game. Erickson, Pedraza, Gardner, Pierce, and McCormick. Minute 25 seconds left to go. Pedraza surveying the court. Working against Trainum. Erickson will vacate. Gardner clearing some space. Now being trapped. McCormick puts up a jumper. It rims out, rebounded by Erickson. Goes up to Pedraza. McCormick, baseline. Bounce pass to Erickson. Now working it across the arc. No look feed. Pierce to Erickson. Now to Gardner. Deep three. In and out. McCormick with the rebound. She'll put it up, and she's fouled.
You thought you had your best look at Gardner, and it slides around the rim. And Sherelle McCormick, as she's done so many times this game, gets the offensive rebound, drives with a full head of steam, and draws a very big foul.
McCormick's first shot. Got it. 21 points in today's game. Easily leading all scoring. And there's number 22. It's a 4-point ball game with under a minute left to go. Timeout being called by Emory and Henry. Jacqueline Dickens will have a word with her squad. Chris, Amaya Pierce has a career high in rebounds, and I think that was a perfect example of why Flagler deserves to win this game, because it's got to be backbreaking if you're Emory and Henry, trying to get rebound after rebound and being out-rebounded by the Saints.
Well, it's all about rebounding, right? This game of basketball, especially in the women's game, the way the ball is cycled through, it's not as much transitional. It's all about passing. It's all about making the smart decision. So when you get good looks and good shots and they don't fall in, and then you have another insurance policy in two big, tall girls that can rebound the basketball, and Amaya Pierce, who's just so athletic, you get points because of that and that alone.
50 seconds left. Emory and Henry needs points, and they need them now. McCormick working against Trainum. Nifty ball fake. And there's a foul as she goes up with one with her right hand.
I was just about to say before she was driving to the basket, I didn't want to cut you off, but the only thing that you can't do is start stopping the clock based on fouls and allowing good shooters to get good looks at the line. Because if you do that, right, she makes both shots. It's a 2-point game. You don't have the last shot. You really have to be careful now.
Trainum enters today's game with just under 4 points per game for an average. She's got 7 today. Chance to double up her typical average. That's a surprising stat to me, considering her involvement in today's game. And it's a 2-point game once again. Full court press is on. Gardner being swarmed by the Wasps.
And the Wasps not trying to foul here because they will get the last possession. And if it's a 2-point game, the way they've been playing back and forth, you like their chances.
And a great screen by Erickson. Trainum tried to sell it. Gardner's going to work one-on-one, isolating. No room at all for her to go. Pedraza in the corner. 4 seconds left to shoot. Crosses up. And that will run the clock all the way through.
It's a shot clock violation. And a timeout for the Wasps. They have 8 seconds to tie it or win it.
It's poor clock management there by Flagler. I'm not sure if there was a lack of awareness there by Pedraza, by Gardner, but at the very least, you needed a shot. However, the silver lining is, if it was a shot that was missed, no transition going the other way. So you get a chance to get into your defensive set and force back the Emory and Henry Wasps. 63-61, 8 seconds left to play. Flagler looking for win number 2 on the season.
For the Wasps, you have about 3 options, right? And two of the options, actually all three of the options can be achieved by one thing, and that's shooting the basketball, right? First option, get 2 points, tie the game, go to overtime. Second option, shoot 3 points, try to win the game if you get a good look. Third option, draw a foul in the act of shooting. So with all of that, you're going to have to allow a shot at some point. The question is the shot going to be completely contested to where it's too physical and the ref's going to blow a whistle to call a foul? Or are you going to be able to stay calculated enough, stay defensive, and stick to your plan enough to not allow a player to go to the line?
What's also important to note is that the Wasps have used their last timeout in regulation, and it's well worth it considering that 8 seconds are left on the clock. With that shot clock violation, it makes you wonder, do you think that the basketball is going to be inbounded from midcourt? I believe that it will be, and yes, it will. Emory and Henry will get the ball from midcourt, and now 3 extra seconds have been added on, 11 seconds.
And those 3 seconds will matter a lot because you have an extra 2 or 3 passes that you can add. And I think now Mo Smith's going to call timeout for Flagler. With those 3 seconds being added, I'm wondering what he's going to say to his squad, because you have under 10 seconds. I'm sure he has a defensive scheme implemented for 10 seconds or less. The 11th and final second may change the entire plan.
Well, and what's so different about this, Chris, is, as we mentioned on the broadcast a couple of times, is how they have compressed it on the inside and not allowed the 3-ball to be shot. With a 3-pointer winning the game effectively with 11 seconds left to go, does that strategy change?
I'm not sure. We just kind of have to see it play out. The Wasps have been good about drawing fouls. I would have to assume you want to get the ball to Jones any way you can.
Jones inbounding to Trainum. Trainum versus McCormick. Working her way inside. Santoro, top of the key, less than 5. Trainum puts one up, and she's fouled on her way up to the basket.
Unfortunate. Now the pressure is on to Trainum, though. She has 8 points. She's been good from the line. That left wing trying to let her drive in. The help defense came in, drew the foul, and that was a good foul call there.
Here's the first shot, and it's good. 1.4 seconds will remain on the clock. Crowd is getting loud, trying to disrupt Mimi Trainum. And she misses! She missed the shot! And Flagler is going to walk away with the victory.
I don't know if it's a walk. It's definitely not a waltz. It's more of a crawl to the finish line. Emory and Henry gave the Saints one heck of a game. It was the final shot that determined the finale of this game. Flagler wins their second game of the year in a thriller, 63-62. What a performance from both teams. But the Saints take home the victory here today.
They most certainly do, 63-62. Thank you so much for tuning into Flagler College Athletics here from inside the Flagler College Gymnasium. For our entire crew, Chris Carey, I'm Stephen Carey, signing off until Flagler College goes and starts their conference slate of games December 10th at North Georgia, 1:30 p.m.